Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever you are listening this video, today we are starting with the essential thrombocythemia and primary myelofibrosis. As you know, essential thrombocythemia is one of the myeloproliferative neoplasm. It is one of the myeloproliferative neoplasm. And in previous lecture, I told you what does the myeloid means. Myeloid is whenever we see the hierarchy, from the stem cells, two cells arises, myeloid stem cells and lymphoid stem cells. Myeloid means from the myeloid stem cell, three lineages arise, RBC, platelet, and the WBC except lymphocytes. So these three lineages are going to arise from myeloid stem cell. So whenever the word panmyelosis is there or trilineage hyperplasia is there, tri means these trilineage is there, and pan means all the cell series. So both the terms are similar, panmyelosis or trilineage hyperplasia. This happen in the myeloid. So ET, essential thrombocythemia, this is myeloproliferative disorder, and in this there is an overproduction of the platelet. There is an overproduction of the platelet. While if we talk about the primary myelofibrosis, if we talk about the primary myelofibrosis, this is bilinear hyperplasia. In this bilinear, two cells series are going to increase, and these cells are platelet, these cells are platelet and WBC. So in bilinear hyperplasia, in PMF, these two cells series are going to increase. And in case of essential thrombocythemia, as it is in this case unilinear hyperplasia is there, so just platelet is going to increase. And if we talk about the primary that is polycythemia vera, if we talk about the polycythemia vera, in the polycythemia vera, we can say it is a trilinear hyperplasia is there. So all the cell series RBC, WBC and platelet, all the cell series are going to increase. So you just remember ET, in ET it is unilinear hyperplasia, and what is that lineage? Platelet. The lineage is platelet. And in the primary myelofibrosis, there is a bilinear hyperplasia, and the lineage is granulocytic and other one being megakaryocytic. So there is a more and more platelet, and the WBC except lymphocyte, and the polycythemia vera, this is trilineage hyperplasia. So all the cell series are going to increase. Now, this was all about the word myeloid and what does the unilineage hyperplasia, bilinear and the trilinear, and what does the panmyelosis is seen, as some of the students asked me regarding this. Now, ET, as it is a clonal myeloproliferative neoplasm, and in this there is a marked megakaryocytic proliferation. So there is a overproduction of the megakaryocyte. It is 2 to 12 times the normal. And in this there is a JAK2 mutation is there. JAK2 mutation is there, means there are some other mutations also, like MPL is there, and other one being triple negative. So in this JAK2 mutation is seen in 50 to 60% of the cases. Now, what are the major criteria for essential thrombocythemia? Number one criteria is dealing with the platelet. When the platelet count is more than 4.5 lakh per microliter. Second criteria is dealing with the bone marrow. What happens in the bone marrow? As it is a unilineage hyperplasia, so increase in the megakaryocytes, and the characteristic feature of the megakaryocytes is hyperlobulated. So there is a proliferations of the megakaryocyte lineage with the hyperlobulated nuclei. Nature is hyperlobulated nuclei. And number three criteria is dealing with the excluding the other myeloproliferative neoplasm. So number three criteria says not meeting the WHO criteria of CML, PV and PMF, and the presence of JAK2, CALR, calreticulin and MPL mutation is there. So these are the four criteria. And the one minor criteria is the absence of the evidence of the reactive thrombocytosis. We have to exclude the reactive thrombocytosis because reactive thrombocytosis can be because of the infection or postpartum or just after exercise or some the physiological as well as pathological conditions also. So we have to exclude these reactive conditions, and to be diagnosed it as a ET or require meeting all the four major criteria or first three major criteria plus minor criteria. Now, diagnosis is by hematology, that is peripheral blood. There is increase in the platelet because it is a unilinear hyperplasia. Again and again, I will tell you, repeat the thing. It is a unilinear hyperplasia because you can write it down entire your long note or short note over this word unilinear hyperplasia only, because by this you can know there's a megakaryocytic proliferation, and via megakaryocyte there is increase in platelet. So in PBF there is a increased platelet, and if we see the morphology, there's a clump of the platelets. So clump of the platelet is seen. There is aggregate of the platelet. The few of them are larger in the size. While bizarre platelet can be seen, in bone marrow. The counterpart of the platelet, that is megakaryocytic hyperplasia, is seen, and the characteristic nature of the megakaryocyte is hyperlobulated. The nucleus of this megakaryocyte are hyperlobulated, means there is a hyperlobulations of the nucleus is there. There is a no important thing is there is a no dysplasia. No dysplasia is seen in the megakaryocytes. There is a no nuclear cytoplasmic asynchronous there. But the important thing is staghorn nucleus. The characteristic feature of the nucleus in the case of megakaryocyte is staghorn nucleus. Staghorn nucleus is there. So this was all about the bone marrow, and the molecular three thing can be seen: JAK2 mutation, CALR, CAL reticulin, or MPL. Among these, according to the percentage wise, highest is JAK2 mutation is seen. Now this is JAK2 mutation is seen. In pathophysiology, if it, and some cases are triple negative also there. In fact, if we talk about the pathophysiology of this essential thrombocythemia, it is just similar with the polycythemia vera. Like this is this is like thrombopoietin receptor. This is thrombopoietin receptor, and this is thrombopoietin. And JAK2 is involved here. JAK2 is involved in the regulation of this thrombopoietin receptor. So what happens in the case of the mutation of this JAK2? Without this TPO, without thrombopoietin, there is a continuous activation of the thrombopoietin receptor. So there is a continuous this is continuously being activated. So there is a production, there is a megakaryocytes, continuous production of the megakaryocyte, and from megakaryocytes platelet will be there. So this is pathophysiology. Now there is some difference in JAK2 mutant ET and CALR mutant ET. CALR mutant ET, it involves younger patient and the better prognosis, while this JAK2 mutant ET involve the old elderly patient and have got worse prognosis. Now, if we talk about the mutation burden, because in case as ET has got good prognosis among all MPN, so here the reason being the mutation burden is less than 40%, while polycythemia vera has got worse prognosis among the other MPN, because here the mutation burden is more than 40%. So whenever there is a greater, more than 40% burden is there, and the patient is non-case of ET, then we should think of some masked polycythemia. It may be the reason the patient may be suffering from occult pre-polycythemic phase. Now, what are the clinical features? As there is increased megakaryocyte and increased platelet, so all sign and symptom are related with the increased platelet. There are two things is going on hand in hand, that is hemorrhagic event as well as thrombotic event. When there is a increased concentration of the platelet, and because of the more and more platelet, there is a formation of the thrombus, and the other and all symptom are because of the thrombosis. It will occlude the vein, artery, or microvasculature, and there will be thrombus formation in this, and all the sign symptom are because of this. And when the platelet are more than 1 million or 1.5 million, then this platelet will utilize the Wald-Willebrand factor, and now Wald-Willebrand factor is not freely available, and we know it is helpful for the clotting. So in absence of this Wald-Willebrand factor, the presentation will be of hemorrhagic. So because of this increased platelet, there may be hemorrhagic as well as thrombotic event will be there. So all clinical features are related with this only. There is a thrombus or bleeding. So thrombus and bleeding. Thrombus may be in coronary artery, leg, renal artery, occlusion of the vein in the splenic or hepatic. We are talking about the thrombotic, means there is a thrombus. So thrombus can involve the splenic artery, hepatic artery, can be occlusion of the pulmonary artery. And if the microvasculature are going to involve, then there is a erythromalagia. Erythro means redness, and malagia means extremity, painful extremity, because of this microvasculature occlusion. There can be ocular migraine, transient ischemic attack will be there. And what are the manifestation of the hemorrhagic? Is GI bleeding. Patient can present with the gastrointestinal bleeding, bleed from the skin, gums. This is specifically seen when the count is more. And the other reason being for the other reason for the thrombus formation is there is a loss of prostaglandin D2 receptor, and for this it is responsible for the coagulations, because normally prostaglandin D2 inhibit the platelet aggregation, and in absence of this there will be coagulation. So PGD2 receptor, the loss of PGD2 receptor is responsible for the coagulation. And other thing is storage pool defect. Because of the storage pool defect, there will be bleeding. I told you two things: loss of the prostaglandin D2 receptor. Because of this there will be coagulation activity, and because of this only there will be the thrombotic event, and the storage pool defect in the platelet. Because of this there will be bleeding tendency. Two things, one and the previous one are like, because of the increased platelet, decrease in the Wald-Willebrand factor, and this will lead to the bleeding tendency. Now management is by giving the antiplatelet drug like anagrelide, hydroxyurea for decreasing the uric acid symptom, alpha interferon may be given. Thrombocytosis can be primary thrombocytosis or reactive thrombocytosis. The reason of the primary thrombocytosis is this MPN, and specifically of the ET. While the cause of the secondary or reactive thrombocytosis, because after the infection, after the malignancy, post-hemorrhage, post-splenectomy, or after inflammatory disease, or after parturition. Now this is peripheral blood, and here we can see these are the RBC, this is WBC, and these are the aggregate of the platelet. All these are the aggregate of the platelet. Now this is bone marrow picture. Here you can see these are the fat spaces, and these are the megakaryocytes. So megakaryocytes are seen in luge cluster. And here you can see the staghorn nucleus. Staghorn nucleus is there. And there is by this picture you can see the hyperlobulated nucleus. So all these are the feature. There is no dysplasia, no nucleocytoplasmic asynchronous there. Again, here you can see the hyperlobulation, and all these are the megakaryocytes. Now, Just remember, this is unilinear hyperplasia. So platelet increase in bone marrow. Bone marrow is normal cellular or mildly, because only one lineage is going to overproduce. So this will not impart to the hypercellularity of the bone marrow, because fatty spaces are also seen. The important feature is staghorn nucleus and hyperlobulated nucleus. There is a no dysplasia, no atapia. Now coming toward the primary myelofibrosis, this is again a myelodysplastic MPN, myeloproliferative neoplasm, and this is a bilinear. In this, there is a bilinear hyperplasia. Bilinear hyperplasia means increase in the platelet as well as increase in the WBC, or specifically of the granulocytic series. So two things are going to increase in the primary myelofibrosis, that is granulocyte and platelet. So primary myelofibrosis referred to as a idiopathic myelofibrosis or exogenic myeloid metaplasia or myelosclerosis. This is a progressive arising from the pluripotent hematopoietic progenitor cells and characterized by the granulocytic and megakaryocytic proliferation because of the bilinear hyperplasia, and associated with the reactive myelofibrosis. What reactive myelofibrosis is important because megakaryocyte, as the megakaryocytes are increased in the case of the primary myelofibrosis, so megakaryocytes secretes this growth factor, platelet-derived growth factor and fibroblast growth factor, and these, because of these growth factor, there is a proliferation of the fibroblast, and because of the proliferation of the fibroblast, there is a fibrosis, ultimately lead to the fibrosis. So this fibrosis is reactive, secondary, or as a reaction to the increase in the megakaryocytes. Now, hematopoietic cells, now they lodge from the bone marrow into the liver and the spleen. So there is extramedullary hematopoiesis in the liver as well as in the spleen is seen. And remember this thing, whenever the extramedullary hematopoiesis is seen, then there will be leukoerythroblastic reaction will be there, because when the lineages are arising from these secondary site or extramedullary site, then there is an immature cell will be released in the peripheral blood. That's why there is a leukoerythroblastic reaction. In the leukoerythroblastic reaction, in the peripheral blood, we see the NRBC as well as myelocytes or metamyelocytes. And you know these are the immature forms. So there is a leukoerythroblastic reaction is there. And we know the bone marrow has got fibrosis. So from fibrosed marrow, the teardrop cell will be there. Now, major criteria for, there are major criteria for pre-fibrotic PMF can be divided into the early PMF or overt PMF. So major criteria for both of these conditions are somewhat similar. Just the major criteria number one is there is a difference in the major criteria number one. So what it says in pre-fibrotic PMF, megakaryocytic proliferation and atapia without reticulin fibrosis. The fibrosis is there, but without reticulin, and it is greater than 1 grade. And there is a accompanied by the granulocytic proliferation, but there is a decrease in the erythropoiesis because only 2 lineages are going to increase. The other feature is they should be not meeting the WHO criteria for other MPN. The number 3 major criteria is dealing with the presence of these 3, one of them mutation. And the minor criteria says the presence, minor criteria says is anemia not attributed to comorbid condition, leukocytosis more than 11,000 per microliter, palpable splenomegaly or LDH level above the upper limit. So diagnosis of the prefibrotic PMF require all the 3 major criteria and at least 1 minor criteria. Either all the 3 criteria or all the 3 criteria plus 1 minor criteria. So in overt fibrotic PMF also the same thing is there, just there is a fibrosis of grade 2 and 3. Other things are similar. Now there are three types of mutations seen in PMF, that is JAK2 mutation, CALR mutation, MPL mutation, and triple negative mutations is there. And we normally call it as a driver mutation. All three are called as a driver mutations. Now CALR mutation are of type 2 in PMF, while CALR mutation is type 1 in case of essential thrombocythemia. Means CALR mutation, there are two types, CALR1 and CALR2. So CALR2 type of mutation is seen in PMF. And prognosis wise, CALR has got good prognosis, followed by the MPL and JAK2, and lastly that is bad prognosis in seen in triple negative cases. Now the new thing or latest edification is the identification of the somatic mutation of the codon 515 of MPL, and it is seen in PMF and ET, essential thrombocythemia, which is JAK2 negative. Now what are the clinical features? There is a equal predisposition in male and female. The other signs and symptoms are weight loss, night sweat, anorexia, fatigue, and the patechi or ecchymosis will be there because of the bleeding. And splenomegaly and hepatomegaly is there because of the extramedullary hematopoiesis. Hematological findings are because of the increase megakaryocytes or increased platelet and increase in the granulocytic series and decrease in the RBC. So as there is a decrease, because it is a bilinear hyperphagia, and when there is a decrease, as there is a decrease in the RBC, so there will be anemia. And as a result of the extramedullary hematopoiesis, there is a leukoerythroblastic reaction and teardrop cell. Teardrop cell is from the fibrosed marrow, and leukoerythroblastic reaction from the as a result of the extramedullary hematopoiesis. Leukocyte and platelet are increased. But it depends on the stage also. In the early stages, in initial stages, the RBCs decrease and these two lineages are going to, RBCs decrease and these two lineages are going to increase. While in the later condition, all the cell series are going to decrease because of the fibrosis. So in the later case, the finding will be cytopenia. Now bone marrow, when we tape the bone marrow, there is a dry tape. The specific feature is dry tape because there is a fibrosis of the marrow. So we cannot aspirate the bone marrow when there is a, all thing has been fibrosed, so we are not able to aspirate. Now bone marrow histology demonstrate the three sequential phases. These phases are prefibrotic, fibrotic, and the osteomyelosclerosis. There are three phases. In early fibrotic, there is a WBC and platelet are going to increase while RBC is decrease, and the bone marrow is hypercellular, and the characteristic hypolobulated nuclei and dysplastic nuclei are there. As I told you in ET there is a hyperlobulated, while in primary myeloid, this is PMF, so there is a hypolobulated nuclei and dysplastic nuclei. There is a atapia is there. There is dysplasia, and the specific cloud-like nuclei and or we can say balloon-like nuclei of megakaryocytes. All things we are talking about the megakaryocyte, and there is a tight cluster of the megakaryocytes. While in case of the essential thrombocythemia, there is a loose cluster. And the other thing is there is a change in the topography also. Now fibrotic stage or in the later cases, there will be pancytopenia, means all the things are going to decrease, but depend on the stage. If it is of just initial stage, then can be leukocytosis, thrombocytosis may be seen, but as the disease become advanced, there will be leukopenia or thrombocytopenia, and already we know there will be anemia. Now bone marrow finding almost are similar, but more fibrosis is there. The differential diagnosis is CML, a specific CML in which there is a megakaryocytic granulocytic hyperplasia is there. As we talked about, CML can be in CML of depending on the topography, two type can be seen: granulocytic hyperplasia or granulocytic megakaryocytic hyperplasia or granulocytic hyperplasia. So if there is a granulocytic megakaryocytic type is seen, then this type of CML can confuse with the PMF. Then the other DDs, MDS with the fibrosis, mast cell disease, hairy cell leukemia, metastatic disease. Now, in short, here this is prefibrotic and the overt fibrotic PMF. This is peripheral blood, and this is your bone marrow finding. In peripheral blood, only one thing is decreased, that is RBC. As it is bilinear hyperplasia, so early or in early condition, when in pre-condition, the two linears are increased. Two linears are increased. While in advanced condition or overt condition, all cell linears are going to decrease. But if we see the bone marrow earlier, WBC can be seen and thrombocytosis may be seen. The important thing in the overt is leukoerythroblastic reaction and teardrop cell, while it is not seen in the prefibrotic PMF. This is bone marrow picture. Here you can see all these are the megakaryocytes, and this is trabeculae. So there is as I told you, there is a change in the topography. So these megakaryocytes are seen near the trabeculae. Now these are the hypolobulated nuclei, and balloon type or cloud-like nuclei are seen, and this is fibrosis. These all are the fibrosis. This is fibrosis. So just revising the thing, in ET, as it is unilinear hyperplasia, so only platelet is going to increase. So bone marrow is not increased much. So there is it is normocellular or mildly hypercellular, or staghorn nucleus and hypolobulated nucleus. While in early MF, or if we talk about the PMF, then balloon or cloud-like nuclei, dysplastic megakaryocyte, or hypolobulated nuclei. This is polycythemia vera, because this is associated with the trilinear. This is associated with the trilinear hyperplasia. So this will give rise to the panmyelosis. So hypercellularity of the bone marrow, highest cellularity is seen in case of the polycythemia vera, while here two linears are going to increase. Bilinear hyperplasia. So this type of bone marrow is in between. Cellularity is in between the ET and PV, and the lower cellularity is seen in the ET because only unilinear hyperplasia, only one cell series is going to increase. And if we look on the nucleus, it is staghorn nucleus, here the bullous nucleus, and the characteristic feature of the polycythemia vera nucleus is pleomorphic type of nucleus. And in case here the fibrosis is more and more, here can be seen, but not it is much. So these are references. Thank you very much.